This year's keynote speaker at Global INSEAD Day in Singapore is Harish Manwani, former COO of Unilever. This year's theme is Business as a Force for Good, and this seems appropriate in light of Mr. Manwani's passionate TED Talk, Profit Isn't Always the Point, which has received over 1 million views online. Joining us to discuss this urgent theme, as well as his extraordinary career, is Harish Manwani. Welcome to INSEAD Knowledge.
Pleasure to be here again.
First of all, you've spent nearly 40 years at Unilever, starting as a trainee. What's the secret to that sort of successful longevity with one company?
Well, don't remind me of it. I think it's basically patience and persistence. But on a serious note, I think the fact that I sort of had a career, a lifer career in Unilever, is because I love being in the company. I love the people. I love the company. More important, I think the company's values resonated with who I am and what I wanted to do. And the other important thing is that while I may have worked in one company, I did several jobs. And because of Unilever, I managed to sort of work in almost every part of the world. So what a combination that is.
And I read that at Unilever, you advocated introducing at least 2 products or brands per month. What was the rationale behind that?
Well, this was at a time when I used to manage our personal care business in India. We wanted to really scale it up. And I thought the best driver of growth in a developing market has to be innovation. And in order to really bring that culture alive, rather than talk about process, I said every leadership meeting, every month, has to start with 2 new things that we're going to be doing in the marketplace. So you've got to put them on the table if you want a license to talk. So that was just a way of kind of encouraging the whole idea of being an innovative enterprise.
Over the course of your career, you've experienced incredible changes in the global market. What do you think is the most significant change you've witnessed?
Well, I think the most significant change that we are seeing is that you can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow on the basis of what happened yesterday. So unpredictability and volatility is in fact the biggest change. And as you learn how to navigate businesses in this kind of environment, you have to learn different skills. And to my mind, in the last decade, if I can put it, maybe exaggerate a little bit, I think the importance of long term has become even more important, because as you get into choppy waters, you must always have a sense of destination. But equally, I think the medium term is dead. It's either the short term or the long term. Because at the end of the day, if you're trying to predict what's going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years, well, try again. But at the same time, if you really don't have a sense of purpose and destination, you can easily get lost in this world.
Thank you. And I wanted to talk about this theme of business as a force for good, because obviously it is the theme of today's event. I just wanted to start by asking, what does this theme mean to you?
Well, I and certainly Unilever have always passionately believed that business has to be part of the solution to societal issues, not the problem. And if you look at what business does, at the end of the day, business touches upon more parts of lives, more lives than any other single institution in this world. And what does the world need in today's context? The world needs growth. You need economic growth, you need businesses to grow. And the only thing that needs to change is that the role of business is not just to look after their shareholders, but to look after all their stakeholders. Business must be embedded in the communities in which it operates. Business must make sure that they are part of the social change and part of the solution. And I think that, to my mind, is the big change that has to happen. I think it is about the kind of leadership you provide in the business. Leadership has to be values-led and purpose-driven. You have to make sure that you define a purpose for your business that is just larger than selling the products that you sell or the services that you offer. And it is then that you begin to be part of the solution to society. I believe that it's an internal compass that you have to follow. It's not about the external compass. In other words, what do I mean by that? No matter where you are in the world, you cannot have 2 sets of values. If we operate a business in the US, in Nigeria, in Brazil, in India, in Indonesia, or Ghana, you have to have one code of business principles, one way of doing things, one set of ethics, one set of values. You cannot say, you know what, I operate in an environment that allows this, I'm going to be, as long as I do that, it's okay. It's not okay. You have to be led by your own internal compass. And great organizations have an internal compass.
And one complaint that I've heard, or one issue, or one sticking point, is that some companies believe that social impact is best confined to CSR departments, that there's one department for it, and that it doesn't need to really be more widely distributed than that.
So that's a very important point.
Yeah.
I do believe that CSR is nothing but sort of, a company trying to appease its conscience. What we believe in is that you have to make sure the social impact is part of your business model. You need to be a company with a soul, not just a company with a conscience. CSR starts when you make the profit and decide to give part of it. Social impact is about making sure you have a business model that can do well and at the same time do good. In other words, is embedded in every single activity that you do. When you want to source raw materials, do you want to source it all from sustainable sources? When you market your brands or services, do you believe that it has a larger purpose in the society it serves? You embed social impact in everything that you do, not as an afterthought after you finish business and you say, I'm going to give part of my stuff to charity. CSR, to my mind, is not sustainable as social impact embedded in your business model is.
And I wanted to also ask you about an interesting point that you brought up in the TED Talk, which is the need for coalitions and partnerships in tackling social change.
Yeah. Again, no single institution, company, or organization can actually change the world. If you have to change the world, you need coalitions. And I think the biggest coalition that we need is a coalition where the governments and the businesses actually can work together. Because at the end of the day, citizens and consumers are two sides of the same coin. We all coexist in the same ecosystem. And really bringing about coalition is the only way by which you can multiply the impact of what you're trying to do.
Thank you very much, Harish Manwani.
Thank you.